Hey YouTube. Well, I got a surprise for you. Okay, starting tomorrow, I'm going to put 2 of my books for free promotion. So in other words, 2 of my books, I wrote 5 books, 2 of them are going to be free for download tomorrow. If you have a phone or you have a Kindle, something like that, or your computer, you can download it on. It'll cost you nothing. I'm so proud of these 2 books. So let me tell you about the 2 books. All right. My series, Love and Gospel Music, I've talked about it before. This was the first book. Love and Gospel Music, right? So when I wrote that book, I wasn't planning on it being a series. I was just planning on it being a novel. So the story begins with this kid, Dwayne Brown. He starts off, he's 10 years old. He's writing to God. So this tells the story of his abusive background and all this kind of stuff. And then he is gay. He comes out, goes to Los Angeles. Yes, there are similarities to my own life, at least from 10 to, let's say, 19 years old. He looks a lot like me at that time. This is my first novel. But by 19, he's got his own personality. He's his own person. The character takes off. The character moves to Los Angeles, Dwayne Brown, and in this club called the Circus Disco, which is an actual club in LA, he meets this guy, beautiful guy, his first time. He has not had any sex with anybody. No, he had sex with maybe one person. Fly by night thing. This is his first love. And this guy is a gospel singer. At the time that he meets him, he has just released his first album. And he's worked with a lot of other singers. He's worked as a background singer for several years. He's slightly older than Dwayne. So the story traces their relationship. I mean, there's mothers, brothers, family members of Dwayne that are all through the story, right? And primarily his grandmother, who he's very close to. So anyway, he moves to Los Angeles, falls in love with his gospel singer, and together they begin a life, right? Gospel singer used to be kind of whorish. This is his first love, not his first encounter, not by far. His first love. This book is primarily about their relationship. They get together. At some point, Dwayne can sing as well, but he's not a star kind of thing. He's not ambitious at all. So he is a background singer for Joey. Joey is the other character, right? They get together. They become very, very successful. Joey's career takes off. Of course, they have to keep their relationship somewhat hidden. Dwayne begins to sing background with him. He later begins to write for them. And there are a couple of tragedies. And eventually, they start their own company, Stratton Records. Now, Stratton Records is the inspiration for all the other books. Okay. This is the first book. Eventually, this is so complicated because this is a real novel, full novel. It's 400-something pages. So it's a fantastic story. That's not the one that's going to be free. The second book, okay, so Dwayne dies in the first book. Joey's left alone, the gospel singer. And that's where the second book picks up. Now, remember, I wasn't intending this to be a series. But as it turns out, people wanted to know more about what was going on with Joey after Dwayne died. Dwayne was killed by a serial killer or an obsessed fan of Joey's. Kills Dwayne trying to get next to Joey. Okay? So in the next book, which is this one, which is one I highly recommend. This is actually probably the best work that I've ever done. It's called the Epiphany. Now, all these books will stand on their own, right? So this book picks up, Joey has moved to San Francisco. No, he's come to San Francisco to kill himself. He's having a hard time with the passing of Dwayne. He's been diagnosed with a cancer, a prostate cancer. It's been too much for him, and he decided to come to San Francisco, jump off the Golden Gate Bridge. As it turns out, it's not the Golden Gate, but it's where he comes to, right? While as he's on the bridge, about to jump off into the water, he meets this old guy, this old man, right? And that's where the name of this book comes from. People ask me, why you say the Epiphany? It's misspelled. It's supposed to be the Epiphany. No, the Epiphany. They are like a being. They are supernatural. Hold on. I'm gonna get myself excited. This guy talks him off the ledge, right? Or off the pier. And then he disappears. Oh, so when he approaches Joey, he knows everything about Joey. He knows about what happened with Dwayne. He knows all about Dwayne. He knows about his life. He knows everything about him. And he convinces him not to kill himself. Not yet. Right? So the kid, the guy, this is Joey now. Joey's about 60 years old. Right? He calls this woman, this other gospel singer in Los Angeles. She recommends this psychiatrist for him. He says he wants to talk to somebody. He needs to talk to somebody. So he meets this guy, a doctor. What was the doctor's name? I don't even remember my own doctor's name. That's strange because that's one of the primary characters. Anyway, eventually he meets this cab driver after he meets the psychiatrist, right? Cab driver tells him all about his meeting on the bridge. They seem to all know everything about him, so he's an Epiphany also. Epiphany, you know. A thought that comes in your head, a sudden knowing. These are wearing flesh. They're to help him. Right? So the Epiphany tells him the next person you see when you get out of this cab is going to be significant in your life. You cannot let him get away. So he drops him off on Polk Street. Polk Street is like the hustler drag here in San Francisco. And he meets this kid, the primary character of the second book. His name is Dallas Jordan. Right? So Joey and Dallas, they become friends. And Joey ends up being the mentor for Dallas because Dallas is a very talented singer himself. Okay, so they moved to, I can't tell you the whole damn story. Y'all got to read the book. But they moved to L.A. There's nothing romantic going on between these two. Joey is the grieving lover of Dwayne, whose lover has died. And Dallas, who was a young protege he's met on Polk Street. The guy was on Polk Street selling weed. He was not a prostitute. Okay, so they moved to Los Angeles. And they go to Stratton Records, which is the company that Joey owns. He started with Dwayne. And I couldn't say the rest is history because there's lots of things to go on in this story. These Epiphany characters pop up now and again. Right. And I don't know that I can tell you much more of the story because I don't want to ruin the story or spoil the story. But this is my best book. I know it's my best book because when I first published it, I was at my church, and this guy, I was going to church in Oakland. This guy, who was a new member there, a new person I never seen him before, but he said, "Oh, you live in San Francisco?" We were talking whatever in the break, and he said, "Oh, I'll give you a ride home." So I gave him one of these books because I had him. I was giving them away promotional. You know, you give away a few books at church, whatever. He came when he read that book. The next Sunday, when I come back to church, he had read the full book. Right? He was so excited about this book. What was the inspiration? How long have you been writing? This guy was not just an average guy. He was a college professor. He taught African American historical history or something. African American. It's got something to do with church. Anyway, he was a professor at UCSF. Right? He is so excited about that book. And when I went to check on the book and see if anybody bought it yet, he had written a 1.5-page review of this book. He felt so in love with this book. You guys can see it at Amazon.com. I'm going to put the link up on the bottom. That wasn't it, though, because then I got contacted on Facebook. This is about 2 weeks later. On Facebook. And I erased the person. I said, well, I don't want to get involved in these, people that I met. Sometimes they see my videos and they go on Facebook or whatever. I erased it. He came back and sent me another personal message. He says, I've been trying to contact you. I'm very interested in discussing your book, The Epiphany. This guy was a professional book reviewer, right? He was so excited about this book. He calls it nearly a perfect novel. You can also read his review. Very long, very detailed review. I said, oh, this might be my break because this man is in the business. He got me in this magazine. What was the magazine called? They published all gay books. But anyway, so I got an award for being the best novel of that month, I think. This has been 2-3 years back. But I appeared on their website, my book, and he said he was so impressed with the Epiphany that he wanted to re-edit this book. This is the third book. This is Muse. Don't be deceived by the cover. I just thought the cover was kind of romantic, but Muse is another story. It'll take me another half hour to tell you all about the Muse, so I don't want to bore you guys. But he volunteered to redo the whole book. He said, you got too many, not problem with the story, but grammatical something or others. He said, I want to make it perfect for you. I think you have a great talent. So I sent him the book. And I sat back and I waited and waited and waited. He didn't contact me. I said, okay, maybe it was just kind of flaky kind of thing. I looked him up and he is who he says he was. Alan, is it Grayson? I forget his name. Alan, I think it was Grayson. I may have the last name wrong. But anyway, I said, oh, he seemed so excited about the novel. He wrote me such a glowing review. I found out, watching on Facebook, somebody posted, the man had died. This was my closest I ever come to someone actually reading my books, who understood it and got it. So that book never got redeveloped. But although it's very wonderful just the way it is, I'm going to put this book, Epiphany, and this book, Muse, for free on Friday, write this down, Friday, October 7th, which is tomorrow, through Tuesday the 23rd, for both books. They'll be free. Now, I already put them at a discount price because I wanted people to read them. I'm not trying to get rich from writing, but I wanted people to read them. So after this sale, I'm going to have to raise them to a regular price. They've been very cheap for a couple of years, but now it's time. I got to get them to a regular price. They tell me. So download these books starting tomorrow until the 23rd, Tuesday. I guarantee you're going to, if you like books. I mean, I know people don't read as much as they used to read, but if you're a book lover, I think you'll love this story. And the reason I chose these two, because I think you can pick up the story right from the Epiphany. You don't have to read the entire, although hopefully you'll be motivated to read Love and Gospel Music if the story draws you in. But when I wrote this book, I had a predatory kind of publisher, and I can't change the price on this. I can't put it on sale. I can't do anything to this book. It's just, it is what it is. But it's a great novel. But I don't think you need to read that one in order to enjoy The Epiphany, my number one, my best work, Muse. Okay? There's another book. The last book I wrote was The Label, which is a story of a haunted record label. And it was the end of the series. When I finished this book, I knew the series was over. I had written it out. And it took me 10 years to write that series. So hope you guys will check it out. And please, if you do check it out, review it. I would love to hear your reviews, what you think. I'm confident that this is going to be a good read for you. Okay, did I get 15 minutes? Yeah, it's less than 15 minutes, slightly.